You have been a shelter, Lord, to every generation, Lord. Today I wanted to take you with me on one of my morning walks. And forgive me if it's a little bit dizzying at times. But Psalm 7 talks about this idea that God is a shelter, God is a refuge. And there's this fear that this enemy is going to come out of nowhere and rip David apart, or the psalm writer here. And that fear is, especially for a person of that time, not just a metaphor, but a true fear that the body would be torn apart, something that would last for eternity. And so it's not something that's easy to capture in modern life, this fear of being torn from the inside out. But I think that we can connect with it from the standpoint of emotionally, that there are times when people may say false things about us, or our reputation may be tarnished, or maybe we've made a mistake. And it can feel like life is beginning to unravel in this way. And I think having the option, having the remembrance of Psalm 7, where we can take refuge in God, this is refuge in God for me, to just go out and see the blossoms, see the changing seasons, and know that God still holds this beauty behind us, that God still sustains the world, that the sun comes up and down and the rhythms of life continue, even when it feels like the rest of life has been pressed on pause somehow. Perhaps you have had a medical diagnosis, or perhaps you have had a friendship that has suddenly soured, and there are certain pieces in life, a marriage slowing down or falling apart. There's certain things in life that make us feel disconnected, that there is no refuge, that there is no sense of wholeness in the world. And yet, I think just being out in nature, being able to just absorb together for a little while, the fact that God is still holding the world, that's our refuge. And that for me is what Psalm 7 begins to be about. So I just invite you to read Psalm 7. If you don't have a Bible, you can just put it in your search, Psalm 7, and find it. It's the way that we find our connection with each other. This is a favorite redwood of mine that I pass on my morning walk. I think about the way that this redwood is a refuge for so many creatures, so many wonderful creatures, and habitat for so many, in the same way that God is a refuge for us. And so let God be a refuge for you this week as you ponder and wonder. And I hope that you get out into nature, even if it's just to walk around your neighborhood. God be with you. Amen. Here's a brief reflection guide. When you walk, look up and out, not just inward. Remove digital distractions if you can. Be watchful and notice the seasons and the rhythms of life around you. Notice habitats, a tree, a bush, even just the grass is a home for life. What does it mean to find your habitat or refuge in God today? Remember, you can make someone's day by liking, sharing, following this page, and then sharing with someone you care about. Copy the link, send it to someone in your life. Do whatever it is that you are called to do in terms of sharing this. I would so appreciate it. And so would the person who receives it on the other end.